Hi, welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. I tell you, boy, time is really going fast. But you know what? Things are going to change. I'm talking about that political thing.
Yes.
It's happening, but it's going to change, believe me. And what we have here, a young man, he's public safety officer here in the city of Bowie, and that's Dave Grogan.
Grogan, yes, sir.
Grogan.
Grogan.
He tells me that's Spanish. No, that's Irish.
Irish. It's
It's
an Irish
Irish.
name. Yes, indeed.
Grogan.
Grogan, that's it.
Okay. Tell us a little bit. Public safety advocate. You know, that's a fancy name. Just like when I was in, I was in service. You know, in Korea. That's a long time ago.
Long time ago.
And they told me, what's your title, soldier?
Yeah.
I'm a movement control specialist. That didn't mean nothing but a truck driver.
Movement control specialist.
Right. But is that true? You talk about public relations now. Tell us, what do you mean by that?
Well, public safety covers a lot of things. Most people, when they think of public safety, we obviously think about police and law enforcement.
You're right.
But public
I
safety.
think about Uzi.
You think about Uzi. And think about the military. When we say public safety, we think military, we think law enforcement. But it covers a variety of different things that's sort of tied into law enforcement. I think one of the public safety sort of crises that we're dealing with now are really some of the mental health challenges because it's become a public safety issue. We're seeing we're seeing a lot of suicides. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for teenagers. And we're seeing homicides, suicides, all different types of things that is directly tied to public safety.
Okay. You're saying it tied to public safety. Well, what we have to look at is the educational system.
Yes.
Just like in they associate positive citizenship
Yes.
with education. And one of the things that here, all over this country, whether it's north or south, there's problems.
Yes.
We have problems here in Prince George County.
Yes.
To the point that, hey, look, of all the jurisdictions around here, we have the worst educational system.
Yes.
And
With the highest taxes.
yeah, well, and the taxes, they always want to raise your taxes when they want something new,
Right.
instead of going the other way that other jurisdictions are doing. They're bringing in commercial.
Right.
You bring in the commercial, and the commercial takes care of the needs of the people. And I don't know, they don't seem to realize that what draws a person to an area is the amenities that it offers.
Absolutely.
And education is one of them.
Education.
And jobs is other. But preparation here in Prince George County, I was stunned when the Board of Education lost $6.4 million from the Head Start
Head
program.
Start, yes.
And
Devastating.
to me, that was very significant. Some people say, well, we'll get the money. But if I was going to move here now, we are courting FBI, and we're going to have a hospital. If I was going to move here, first thing I'm going to look at, in fact, I've had some of the people here in this area have people that are interested in coming, and they made the choice. They were interested in the fact that Prince George County was progressive, but they had a choice, and they ended up, after looking at the jurisdiction, they went to Anne Arundel County rather than Prince George County.
Or Howard County.
Howard County, based on the educational system.
Sure.
And this is the thing that we really have to, that causes what you were talking about.
Yes.
Is the problems when a youngster goes to college, 4 years, he comes out and he becomes a liability.
Yes.
Because of the fact there's no job category. Yeah. You can't do very much in building your career if you are working fast food.
That's exactly right.
You know, and these are things that they really have to look at, is that educational system. And the irony of the thing, in investigation, they found out the Board of Education hasn't had a audit in 8 years.
Right. Wow.
People don't realize that 60-some% of your budget in Prince George County goes to education.
Education, absolutely.
Hey, what are we getting for our money?
Yes, we got to start asking some questions. I'm actually
And see, the things that you're talking about, those indirectly affect the young people.
Yes.
You go in and, hey, look, you spend $40,000-$60,000. That's cheap. You know, some
That's cheap.
University of Maryland and Georgetown and all that you pay that for one semester. But I'm just saying, is that that draws the youngsters. What do I do? And then the physical thing that's available to him every day is the crime
Yes.
situation that he sees that the youngsters that deal with drugs and they got $400,000, $500,000 houses, 2 or 3 cars, and it didn't take them long. They got involved with the trade. Of course, the individuals, just like old timer like me, when I was going time to go to school, you know what I mean? The people say, okay, if you want to make it, you gotta first of all you gotta get an education.
Gotta get education.
You get the education, you get you a good government job, you work 40 years, then you retire. That's antique.
Yes, that's antique.
See, what I think they have to do, they have to get the young people into the business world.
Yes, entrepreneurship.
Yeah, entrepreneurship. This is the key. Yeah. Working 9 to 5, I'm a living example. Yeah. It's lousy because you had to worry about every day. 8 hours you go, and lunchtime, and all of that. When you have your own business, it makes a big difference. You can control the economics. You can control your schools. You can control a lot of things that you can't do unless you're into the business world.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And it all starts with education.
Yeah.
Yeah, we must teach our kids, like you said, that's old, antiquated to teach kids to grow up to want to get a government job versus teaching them the benefits of entrepreneurship. And education ties directly to economic development. Right. When we're talking about commercial businesses coming here, if I own a commercial business, the first thing I want to look at is what are the kids like? I mean, do we have functional kids that can work? If you look at some of the other surrounding, more productive places or anywhere that's productive, the one thing that you notice that they have a good education system. Yeah. The school system works well, and the school system feeds these jobs, feeds economic development. Everything starts from education.
Well, and you talk about public safety and the anxiety that this causes with a youngster now that comes out of school, and it's very difficult to get a job. And then if he gets a job, he has a school, he has a house note from the school education.
That's right. He's got a mortgage for the school education.
Right. He has a mortgage when he comes out. That's a handicap.
Yes, right off the bat. He in a hole from the start.
Right off the bat, that's a handicap. And those are things that we have to think in terms of. And that's the future. And once the youngsters get into the business world, they'll understand. Then you don't ask for anything. You tell people.
You demand.
Yeah, so you demand. You don't worry about a bill being passed, you know what I mean, to help you go to school or a bill paid to help you with you yourself. And really, as far as I can see, I know my father, he was in entrepreneur up in, he was had garbage truck. People laugh now.
Absolutely.
But if I had stayed into that business, I'd be a zillionaire now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they got a fancy name for it, garbage truck, you know. But the idea is that I thought about it, went to Korea, came back, and GI. I said, well, I'll give me a GI loan, you know. My father, he had a corner store during those times. Then many African Americans in Philadelphia had corner store. Most of them, it was the majority people had the stores, and well, he had a store back there. That was back in the 40s and
In the
50s.
40s, he had a store, right?
And I see in Prince George County, with all the praise about things that are happening there, where are the minority businessmen?
Yes.
Everyone here in Prince George County got 4 cars,
Big houses.
and big house. But if we had minority automobile, you make a mint.
Absolutely, that's right.
Like I say, everybody has basically 3 or 4 cars and things of that nature. But where is the industry?
Right.
Where is the industry that going to produce money? And not only that, when you have industry, you have a terrific effect on politics.
That's exactly right.
When it's time for politics, they have their hand out, and this is the thing that runs our country.
That's exactly right. Politics run the country, and like you said, sometimes, again, it all starts with education, because we have to teach our kids the difference between an appreciating asset and a depreciating asset. A vehicle is a depreciating asset. So.
Now, do you have a mentoring program?
Yes, I have been mentoring kids for probably over 30 years.
Well, what do you think about that program being enforced to the point that the young people can get involved in the business? They exist in business on a mentoring level.
Yes.
See, just like I have made roads into MGM and all of these, and also any business that come in, about a mentoring program for the young people. The grocery stores, I know Wedman's was one. Yeah. Well, they have a Afro-American manager there. And also Costco. And I've checked, and this is the thing, they are taking your money, out of your neighborhood, but very few have mentoring. And when I say a mentoring program, I don't mean sweeping the floor. I mean a CEO.
That's right.
If you know what CEO, Chief Executive Officer.
That's right.
Where are the training programs for that from the businesses that we in Prince George County are supporting?
Yeah, I think that's where the gap is. I think we have to, it's going to take all hands on deck. It's going to take civic leaders, political leaders, everybody to start reaching back. There seems to be a disconnect between the people who feel like they're up here versus the people down here. We've got to have mentorships. Our kids need to see role models. Our kids need they need to have a CEO touch them. They need to have a senator or a delegate or someone touch them, talk to them.
Right.
But I think that's what's missing. I think you raised a great point, the mentorship, and we got to get back. The kids are, obviously, they're lost. Kids love guidance.
Yeah.
Kids, they thrive off guidance. Kids thrive off role models.
Yeah.
But right now, I think for many years, it's been a total disconnect. They've not had the leadership that they needed. They haven't had the mentorship
they have to see an example, just like with this show here. I've been on 15, 20 years, and I have a mentoring program with the community college and Bowie State. But it doesn't seem to be a real interest. You know, the first thing the youngster will say, "How much you gonna pay me?"
That's right. Well, volunteerism, yes, that's missing. Yes.
Instead of realizing the exposure that you have at Wedman's, the exposure you have at MG, the exposure that you have at these car deals or whatever, is the thing that opens the door.
Experience and exposure, and that's again, it goes back to education. We have to teach our kids that you got to pay your dues. I mean, you have to. You're not going to get paid for everything you do, but if you volunteer, volunteerism, I think, is something we really have to enforce. You have to give to get.
Right.
Nothing is free, and when you're young, sometimes you don't know that. And I think, again, getting back to us, they don't know it because we haven't taught them. See, I spend countless hours. I've been volunteering for years. I've been volunteering in the schools, career days for over 25 years. I've never gone to a school and asked them, how much am I going to get paid?
You're right.
We got to feed back into the kids, but we have to teach them that. They don't know. They only know what we teach them.
Well, that's what I'm saying with the educational system, is that I remember when vocation, You know,
Yeah,
they had
vocation.
vocational schools,
Yes,
man.
whatever
I mean,
happened to
if you
that?
want to be a bricklayer
That's
or
right.
a carpenter or
That's right.
electrician or something, now
Mhm.
they don't even have
Yeah.
electricians, and those people, they make big money.
They make big
If you
money.
don't believe it, call one of them for your house and
Oh,
see how much it'll
your
cost you.
heat to
You
go
know,
out.
your heat will go out. You know, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
those are examples
Yeah.
of what the young people are facing. You
Yes.
know, and I want to thank you for being here, and hopefully you don't forget that keep that mentoring program going. Okay,
Always.
this has been Ed Brown's. Hey, we're going to have a second half here. We're going to talk about a lot of other things. Don't go away. Hi, welcome back to the Ed Brown Show. And we got a young man, Sylvester Jones, here. He's law enforcement, I mean, both military and civilian. And I mean, he's been one of the top individuals in our area here. Sylvester Jones, we talked off camera. Y'all probably won't have much time. We only got 15 minutes. We need more than that. So I'm going to be bringing him back next show. Welcome, Mr. Jones, to
Thank you.
the Ed Brown Show.
Thank you for having me.
All the things that you've had exposure to. Currently, you are writing books. Yeah, you decide. Well, I've been in the service. U.S. Marshal Service. He's been top dog in those areas, and then he is deciding to get involved in Prince George's County because he feels there's a need, and there is a need. Welcome, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Just to tell a little bit about now. We got a little information, and Mr. Jones has been on the show before. He reminded me who he was on here with. Tell us a little bit about your hunting criminals to hiding them. I mean, what do you mean by that?
Well, I decided, I retired from the U.S. Marshal Service after 27 years of service with the agency. I rose through the ranks from being a deputy marshal to being the first African-American assistant director and senior executive.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And prior to that, I was a police officer for 4 years in my home state of Illinois. I've been in our county, Prince George's County, for 21 years.
Wow.
So I retired, ran for sheriff of our county in 2014, and decided to go ahead, and I had already thought about writing a book, and I had made some notes, and I keep good records. And so I started writing this book that tells my story, and how I got the title. It's working with some friends of mine. We were meeting, and my first love in the U.S. Marshals was tracking down fugitives. I was an excellent warrant investigator, and I was pretty good. They would call me to different areas around the country to help track down fugitives, and so as
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow.
So as my career progressed, I got into some other things. I got into security of judges. I was in
Security of judges.
Oh yes, I had all federal judges for 6 years. I provided senior executive leadership for their security, and the 9 Supreme Court justices when they left the Washington D.C. area. My people secured them and protected them.
Oh,
so I ran our prisoner programs for a number of years, and then the last 9 years, I ran our famed witness protection program. And the Marshal Service is one of the worldwide leaders in running witness protection. The program was founded by a friend of mine and also a mentor, Mr. Gerald Scher, and I still talk to him. He founded the program back in 1969, 1970. So in getting to I know I went around the block to answer your question. So since I started out in my career tracking down fugitives, in the last 9 years, I was actually hiding them with my people in witness protection. So that's where the title comes from, hunting criminals to hiding them, my journey to and with the United States Marshal Service. And one other note, I also talk about my very successful 25-year military career, and I was a military police officer.
Wow.
And I ended up retiring as a lieutenant colonel from my last station was the District of Columbia Army National Guard right here in the DMV.
Right. So now, when you say hunting criminals, like just like I say, the title, to hide them. Now, the witness program. Now, how does that work? Who determines who you're going to protect?
Well, the Department of Justice has an office they call it's called Office of Enforcement Operations. They are the administrative arm as far as authorizing witnesses to come in the program. So what happens is prosecutors, federal prosecutors around the country, and federal law enforcement agents around the country, they work on these cases. And some of these cases are, very, very serious cases where where organizations have killed and will kill. And so, in order to have successful prosecutions, they have to get people to testify,
Right.
and bring them into the program. And what happens
Are
is,
they trained, these individuals, or just how do you make that selection? Or
well,
do you make it based on your case?
well, it's based on the information that the witness, potential witness has,
Okay.
and so and how serious that information is as far as putting a major criminal organization
Well,
away.
who determines that?
The Office of Enforcement Operations, an arm working with the Department of Justice, they determine that. And then once they're authorized into the program, then they call the U.S. Marshal Service, and then we go and get them. We give them an orientation, and then we take them to a location that is what we call a safe place for them, hopefully where they will not see or be involved with anyone that they would know. And they're separated from their family and
Well,
friends.
how do you get anyone to really volunteer something like that?
Well, sometimes they really don't have a choice, Mr. Brown. If
So
somebody's
it's a
trying to
court
kill
order?
them. No, it's just it's a program. Well, they call it a program of last resort, but it's a volunteer program.
Volunteer.
We can't make a witness stay in a program, but as long as a witness stays in a program and has done what we tell them to do as far as the orientation and the guidance that we give them, no witness have been harmed or killed. Now, some witnesses have left the program because they don't want to be in a program anymore and been harmed. But as long as they follow our rules and regulations, work with our witness security
Well,
field
how
inspectors,
do they
they'll
qualify
survive.
for that? Being a witness, who qualifies them?
It depends on the information that you have. And, what happens is sometimes a criminal organization will put a threat on this person's life, and then they will decide, well, hey, I want to cooperate because I need protection.
They bring that information to you,
Yes.
and then you verify that information.
Oh, that information is definitely verified.
By the courts or by the agency?
By other federal agencies, and then by the Office of Enforcement Operations, which is in the Department of Justice. So it's that program is it's a very good program, and it's been around for now 47 years. Yeah.
And what about the people that are involved? Can they refuse that kind of, give you information? Is a penalty for them not testifying?
No, again, it's a voluntary program, and they can't make anybody get in the program. Now, I know the courts can try to compel someone to testify, but especially these people, the people who get in in a witness protection program, 90 or 95% of them are involved in criminal activity.
Themselves?
Very few are happen to be just a true witness. Most of these folks are involved in the organization, have great details and knowledge of the criminal activity. So they have a lot of information that could help bring down the empire. And so, yeah, that's
right. Well, what stage of operation would you be on as far as the incarceration? You don't get involved in incarceration if the person doesn't volunteer.
Most of the individuals, again, they are involved with a criminal organization. So Most will go to the federal
Witness
penitentiary.
program.
Yeah.
They'll volunteer
Well,
because they're afraid of retribution.
yeah, the gang members or other members
Yeah.
will try to harm them, and so so what they do is, they give information, they testify, and individuals end up going to prison. And a lot of these people who join the witness protection program, they go to prison, and then what we do is we have what
They
we
go
call,
to prison?
Yeah, a lot of them go to prison, but we protect them in a prison. We have
Do you have a special prison for them?
yes, it is
It's
a
like
special
a resort.
prison. It's
Is it like a resort?
It's not a resort, sir, but it's basically a prison within a prison. And that part of the witness protection program is run by the Federal Bureau of Prisons. So while they in the Federal Bureau of Prisons, there's a protective unit that keeps them squared away and separated from other.
Yeah, well, how do you being on a wouldn't it target this to the outside people? Say, well, I'm not going to mess with him because he's on the program. So it's sort of gives the person that's part of it security as long as they're part of it.
Right.
But once they decide not to be a part of it, then they're out of your jurisdiction. Therefore, you have no responsibility.
That's if they leave the program. Then they assume their own security and responsibility. But finishing the point is, once they are in those units in Federal Bureau of Prisons, what happens is when they get out, we go and get them, and then we orientate them, work with them. We may already have their family somewhere in a secure area, and then we will unite the family together. The individual that's inside, we will unite them, and then we will give them job training and help them out and help them to get job placement. We give them subsistence, money to help keep them going.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
If this guy is on a witness program, how does he or his family survive?
We have an appropriation, a federal appropriation.
Federal appropriation
To help them.
And this basically is to encourage people to be part of it and helps your organization to make arrests.
Yes, it helps to, yes, exactly. It helps them be a part of the program. It helps the federal government, make sometimes some very difficult cases, some breakthroughs.
Well, do you have a mentoring or training program for individuals that might be interested in getting involved in that?
No, the Marshal Service, they have intern programs for individuals who are, and I had heard you before, it's I believe it's unpaid intern programs. So they have unpaid intern programs where they individuals can apply to come and work in Marshal's offices and get some experience and some familiarization with the United States Marshal Service. That's correct.
But you do have that program?
Yes.
How do you get involved in it?
They just go to any local U.S. Marshal's office. It's nice if they can have somebody refer them, like I have done it. Yes, I've done it, and I still do it. I meet young folks.
That's what I mean, like you, because
yes,
people, you would open the door for a young person that's interested, to get the exposure. Now they have no way, and some of them don't even know the procedure for doing it.
Mr. Brown, I met a young lady at Dunkin' Donuts getting a cup of coffee, and I believe it was around the time I was running for sheriff in 2014, and we talked, and she was interested in the Marshal's program. So I know a lot of people. I made a phone call for her, and she got an internship.
What we have here, we have to bring him back because he has a lot of doors that he can knock on, and people. Sort of let him in, to the point that he can give advice to young people out there. Here's an opportunity to get involved in the U.S. Marshal Service. Also, in writing a book of this nature, this is like being on the inside, like most of us are not, officially, But I would like to see individuals that interested in the Marshall program. Hey, again, Mr. Jones, Sylvester Jones has all kinds of contacts. Okay, don't forget, next week is going to be Sylvester Jones again.